are we going to be at war against terrorism forever?
That's my fear.
So yeah, there's this fear of this kind of, routinization, institutionalization, regularization, kind of, digging it in and making this kind of just a part of who we are and what we do going forward without there being any way out. I don't know that that's a very coherent. I'm not sure what I'm against or what I'm for by saying it, but I do worry that we seem to be just sliding into this posture of just being permanently at war, permanently driven by our fear of enemies, permanently at a kind of negotiating our freedoms and liberties over and against the imperatives of a security state, and with our forces deployed all around the world and constantly killing our enemies and engendering new enemies in the process of doing so, and
right.
So
that's the key. I think that's the key phrase right there, because that's what makes it a positive feedback cycle, that we are engendering new enemies. And I wish we would realize that in many ways, the enemy here is just hatred. We shouldn't think of the enemy as individual people we need to kill. We should think of the enemy as creating reasons that, with or without justice, with or without reasons, without logic, make more Muslims hate us, right? And I worry, like you, that we're locked into this positive feedback cycle where, we keep killing people with drone strikes, and every once in a while we kill civilians and children, and then jihadist propagandists use that to recruit more people. I was kind of concerned with how easily Obama was drawn into what he himself described as a full-scale war with ISIS. It's one thing to intervene and say, well, we'll try to we'll do what we can. You could say, well, we're gonna do some bombing to try to do some containing, but ultimately there are other people in this region that have a stake in this, and the real question is, are they going to pitch in? And we can't control that, and we'll see. But he really virtually declared war and staked his own legacy to the actual extinction of this group.
Yeah.
It was just such a major commitment, and one that, again, can be construed by propagandists as declaring war on Islam. He declared war on something called the Islamic State, rightly or wrongly, and I think wrongly, but that's what it calls itself. And we're just so casual now about a few more drone strikes here. This is our new war. It's concerning to me. I don't know.
Did the president have a choice, given that ISIS was on the move and was rolling back the gains that we had made in Iraq, taking over this town, that town, and so on? Did the president who was campaigning and then governing with the idea of ending these wars and getting out, and his opponents are saying, blood and treasure were expended for, Fallujah, Anbar, Providence, whatever. And now it's all being rolled back on your watch. What are you going to do about it? I mean, could he really have reacted with equanimity, and said, well, we can't control everything, and, we'll try to support the Iraqis, but, the Kurds. But,
I think I agree he had almost no political choice but to do some kind of intervention. I mean, again, you can always just say, I don't care about the polls, and I don't care how much red meat we feed the conservatives, but almost any politician, I think, would have felt pretty much compelled to do something. But that's not really what I'm taking issue. I'm taking issue with how he described it, the magnitude of the commitment he made.
Yeah.
And also the sheer hyperbole that was emanating from his administration. I mean, Chuck Hagel called it, I don't know, something like the biggest threat ever to every interest we have, just something crazy.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that the president's job, especially in the predicament we find ourselves in, where we face a possibly endless war on terror that just feeds on itself, should be to calm people down whenever possible and keep things in perspective. And he didn't really do any of that. He could have done that too. He could have said, let's keep our head about us. There are reasons that these guys cannot take over the region, okay? Let's calm down, but we're going to do something. And we're going to hope that we can get some other people in the region to do other things, and we'll keep it under control. You know,